All right, welcome. It's the beautiful game on a Monday morning. We're going to take a look at matches that happen. Of course, league football is back after the international break, and there was quite a lot that happened across the major leagues around Europe and also in Africa. For Africa, I'll do that a bit later. Edgar, of course, is on standby here with me. We're going to take a look at the results. Let's go through the results this whole match week. It's match week 4. It started 12:30 on Saturday with Arsenal defeating Nottingham Forest 3-0. It was quite expected. Nottingham Forest looked like a joke, considering that they let go Nuno Espirito Santo and hired Ange Postecoglou, who has been bullish about his chances, but all of that bullishness just ended after Arsenal thrashed Nottingham Forest 3-0. It was a good win for Arsenal there. Edgar, what are your thoughts on that particular fixture, Arsenal up against Nottingham Forest?
Oh yes, I mean it was an interesting game. Of course, it was going to be very difficult for the new coach, for Ange. Again, you know, that new manager bounce. Is he going to play his high line? Is he going to, you know, do a counter attack? And Arsenal, they've been brilliant at home with the likes of Eze starting, Gyökeres as well. I mean, it was a beautiful game, and everyone knew Arsenal was going to win. And good game with Mosquera as well, the defender. Brilliant, brilliant game. Was solid. I enjoyed it.
All right, let's take a look at other fixtures, as it were. Bournemouth defeated Brighton and Hove Albion. It was a 2-1 win for them. Crystal Palace goalless against Sunderland. Everton, Aston Villa 0. Fulham, Leeds United. Newcastle, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Of course, also that was a 1-0 win for Newcastle. Of course, Nick Wolterman added a new striker with the winning goal for them. But like you just saw, the major talking point has to be this particular match, as world champions Chelsea a snatch draw from the jaws of victory with a 2-2 draw against Brentford. You know, this particular match, I mean, Brentford gave it all they have, started quite well, scored the first goal, but Chelsea came back and they scored a late goal. It was a beautiful goal from Philippe Moses Caicedo, pardon me, there. And, well, it seemed like they were coasting to victory, but that, of course, was before former Liverpool player, some people call him Liverpool rejecter, Fabio Carvalho, of course, turned up with that goal at the back post. It was a 2-2 draw, and Chelsea, I mean, a lot of Chelsea fans are disappointed. Edgar, do you think Chelsea have what it takes to mount a credible title challenge?
Yes, of course they do. They also have the amount of players that would actually, you know, challenge. I think for the match with Brentford, it was a case of, do we rest our players for the match against Bayern Munich, or do we go all out and try and get a win? So what most clubs or most coaches would do is try and seal the game in the first half so you can rest your players. But again, Brentford are very, you know, you can't really predict them. You don't know if they would come out great or come out bad. So it was just a case of, you know, they got it wrong, but yeah.
All right, but this will be our major talking point. Let's see if we can get some of the highlights from this match. The major talking point has to be this one. At the Etihad, it was the Manchester derby. Well, I had mentioned on Saturday that Ruben Amorim was seeming bullish. The guy had added weight before that match started, but immediately the match started, it was shocking, because last season, Ruben Amorim took 4 points off Pep Guardiola. They won one and drew the second one when it comes to the Manchester derby. But this season, it looks like Manchester United are going, they are going so low that they have seen all. The remaining thing now to see is diamond. It's shocking how low they are going. I mean, the whole attack has been revamped, but then there's talk about his style. And the fun, interesting thing was Ruben Amorim and what he said after the match. Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights, and then we'll get to talk about his post-match comments. All right, well, I'll get Edgar's thoughts about this particular match to wrap up the show, but it was a big one for that keeper. That save you just saw, Brian Mbeumo on Gianluigi Donnarumma. This man gave a very, very good account of himself, I must say. Okay, let me get my, all right, that's it there. This man gave a very, very good account of himself On his debut, Gianluigi Donnarumma, for me, at the moment, the #1 goalkeeper in the world, he might not play Pep style. Now, that's the point. Pep spoke about adaptation. Now, he might not play Pep style, but the thing about Gianluigi Donnarumma is that he will make saves. He's big, he's tall. You saw that against Gianluigi Donnarumma. It was a good, very good debut for this man. Diaz, Vardiol, O'Reilly, Kushnerov, of course, who was playing his first match in a very, very long time. After that sort of fallout with Pep Guardiola was starting Rodri, but there was a lot of talk about Phil Foden. Is he back to his best? People have been talking about that. We'll get to see how all of that plays. Erling Haaland with 2 goals. I mean, you can't. How much more can you say about the man machine, the Viking? Doku, of course, with that beautiful assist there, breaking through for that particular first goal. Great game from Doku. But, you know, you see, the problem here is this Man U team. Playing in this, they are 3-4-3, as it were. They started the game quite compact, but Ruben Amorim, see, the problem was that when the first goal came in, they became loose. Luke Shaw had a terrible game. It was so easy perusing through this particular defense. It was just easy passing through. A lot needs to be done here. But you see, the problem Manchester United would have is that Ruben Amorim mentioned that, look, I'm going to still play my style. If you don't want the style, then you chase the man. And that's the problem. You cannot be incompetent and arrogant at the same time. That's a recipe for massive failure. Edgar, very fast, in 20 seconds, your thoughts about Manchester United and Manchester City?
Yeah, I just think that Manchester City were clinical and Manchester United were not. No one understands their position. No one understands Bruno Fernandes' role. Is he a defensive midfielder? Is he an attacker? Well, that is it. That is just sad. It's sad for them.
Exactly. I think the person who gave the best account of himself had to be Brian Mbeumo. But Fernandes is a major talking point. Where does he play? That's it on the beautiful game. Stay tuned. We'll take a time out now. There's more to come after this time out.